Hi, I'm Holly Kovo from Fitting Fitness In, and welcome to this episode of Get Healthy with Holly. Today we're going to talk about anxiety, and with me I have Dan Candell, who is a hypnotist, and he focuses on anxiety. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great, thank you. And let me just give you a little information about Dan. Dan is an international speaker, coach, and a certified consulting hypnotist. And he's an instructor through the National Guild of Hypnotists. He teaches people how to reprogram their subconscious minds to overcome their obstacles, achieve their full potential, and get more out of what they want in their personal and professional lives. You use hypnosis and other effective methods to help people overcome anxiety and fears, lose weight, stop smoking. Dan also works with professional athletes, business owners, and corporate executives and entrepreneurs. The result, they can take their performance, attitude, and career to the next level. So after teaching, more than 75,000 people these techniques, Dan has become the go-to guy to help people convert their dreams into plans as he helps them overcome stress, anxiety, gain confidence and motivation, adopt better habits and belief systems, and achieve these full personal and professional potential. Dan's group workshops and demonstrations are truly motivational and inspiring. He has online programs and consulting that help transform people's lives. And just a little bit about how we met. Dan and I met when I was doing my weight loss summit. I guess it was last spring.
Yes, yep.
And I interviewed you for that, and we got along so well, and we have so many of the same concepts that we ended up doing a 28-day mind and body spring online challenge, and that went very well.
It did.
We had a lot of success with that.
Yes, we did, yeah. People are shedding pounds really quickly, and the combination between your strategy and also the mindset together, a lot of times that's what people are lacking when they're trying to do something healthy. They're either lacking part of the strategy or part of the mindset, and combined it helps people realize this is a lifestyle change. It's not just a quick fix, it's a lifestyle change.
Yep. And it was great. We had some great results. So let's start off with, everybody wants to know, how did you get into hypnosis?
You know, my parents wanted me to be a hypnotist so bad. I wanted to be a doctor, but no. So what actually happened, I started very young, and I've been doing hypnosis for more than half my life. I just turned 31 a couple of days ago. And
happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. And I started doing hypnosis when I was about 13 years old. I was one of the world's youngest people to be recognized as a certified as a hypnotist at that time. But when I was younger, I was going through a lot of shifts with just family drama and everything, and the stress and the anxiety of that really caused me to have some learning difficulties in school. And I wasn't able to focus, comprehension issues as well. What would take my friends 20 or 30 minutes to do would take me like 3 hours to do. So when I was going through that, my father said, well, let's go on like a family camping trip, right? That's what you do, I guess, when you're having family turmoil and tragedy, right?
Stick everybody in a tent.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get everybody together and play happy, happy, nice, nice, right?
Yeah.
So on that camping trip, I saw a stage hypnotist, and he hypnotized like 20 people on stage, had them dancing, singing, thinking they won $10 million, transforming their reality, right? So I became fascinated by this. And something really odd had happened, Holly. I had remembered everything, like it was recorded in my mind, that he did in the show. So I went home and I practiced it on my friends later when I got home from the camping trip. And it worked.
Wow.
Right?
Did you make him do funny things?
Oh yeah, I turned him into Dolly Parton because Dolly Parton was like big at that time, right? So so it worked really well, and my parents found out I had an interest. So they started getting me books about hypnosis and everything like that. And there's a part in the book, one of the books I've read, that was how to hypnotize yourself to get better grades. And I did it, and it worked very well, that my grades started to increase very rapidly within about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, so very, very easy, natural changes. And within that time frame, my teachers realized what was happening. They asked my parents what was going on. They said, well, he's hypnotizing himself. Right. So they actually asked me to work with other students who were having similar difficulties. So then I ended up getting professionally trained, and now I travel around the world. I do stage shows, motivational speaking. I have a clinic in Northborough, Massachusetts. I've done a TED Talk. I was just interviewed by Forbes.com. A couple of years ago, opened up alongside for Slash from Guns N' Roses, a hypnotist,
wow.
Right?
Wow, that's interesting.
So now a big part of what I do is I travel around the world and I teach people how to positively reprogram their minds to get more of what they want in life, personally and professionally.
Wow. So what exactly is hypnosis and how does it work? Because everybody's afraid to get hypnotized.
You know, some people think that hypnosis is like mind control or the work of the devil. First and foremost, a hypnotist is not doing anything to you. On stage, it may appear that way, but in a stage show, which is a big part of what I do, and that's how I attract a lot of my clientele, in a stage show, what we're actually doing is we're lowering down a critical factor so that a person feels so relaxed, they just feel very comfortable doing whatever we tell them to do. But there's still a safety mechanism. So even on stage, if I told somebody to do something that they didn't want to do, they wouldn't do it. So I always tell my clients and people on stage, I'm not controlling you. In fact, what I'm helping you do, I'm just helping you get in touch with that natural part of your mind, the subconscious part of your mind. And while we do that, you just feel very comfortable, you're very open to suggestion, but if there's something I tell you you don't want to do, you're not going to do it. I'm not doing anything to you or for you, I'm working with you. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do with my clients. I'm working with them. I just know the right formula to help them get from here to here.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. That's interesting. So let's get to the anxiety.
Yes, sure.
How does anxiety and stress relate to health? How does it hold us back? And how do you work with a client
Absolutely.
with anxiety?
I think they say something like 73% of health-related issues are due to stress or contributed to stress. Mm-hmm. So let's just talk about some of those for a moment and some of the implications. Stress can interfere with your memory, right? It can interfere with your memory, your learning, cognitive abilities, and functioning. Stress can also make you overeat. How many times have you heard, I'm a stress eater? Right. Unhealthy habits such as nail biting, smoking, such as that. It can make people gain weight, health complications, forget things. It can make people age a lot faster. So stress, insomnia. Mm-hmm. So irritability, health complications such as irritable bowel syndrome. So how about this? Stress can literally make you fat, ugly, old, and really, really miserable to be around, right? And unhealthy, right? Yeah. And forget stuff. Nobody wants that. Right. So what I help people do, I help people take control over those side effects of stress, I guess you would say, and anxiety. And it's not just anxiety, but it's also fears, phobias, self-doubt, worry, limiting beliefs, because anxiety, if you live with anxiety, it can really lead to a life of solitude and isolation. A lot of times people isolate themselves in fear of having a panic attack in public, or sales professionals I work with or athletes who have performance anxiety. They can't perform to their full potential. So I use hypnosis to go in and reprogram the anxious response, because anxiety is a learned habitual behavior. Regardless of what people say, oh, anxiety runs in my family. Yes, I agree.
Because you learned it. That's your environment.
Exactly. There's no anxious gene.
Right.
So when a person has anxiety, a lot of times they say, oh, it happens all the time, and some people have very specific anxiety. So what I do is I help a person get into their subconscious mind through using hypnosis and other mental techniques, and we actually change that program of anxiety. And imagine, and all the people watching this, I want everyone to imagine this statement, if this statement were true for a moment. The things that used to stress you out or cause you to feel anxious no longer do like they did before. And I ask people to think about what their life would be like if that statement were true. And that's what I do for my clients. I help them take away the stress and the anxiety, or at least change their responses to it. I would say driving anxiety is one of the most common anxieties and phobias that people have.
Wow, that's interesting.
So it's just getting in there and rewiring that part of their brain to change their responses. So getting into hypnosis a little bit more, we have the conscious logical mind, which is the very analytical mind, which says there's no reason for me to be anxious. Or when a person says to you, just stop it, right? For a person who has anxiety or stress, that's the worst thing you can say, stop it.
Right.
So that's a logical, analytical part of the mind. But even though we say there's no reason to be stressed, there's no reason to be anxious, the subconscious part of the mind squashes that idea and it says, nope, that's who you are. So the subconscious is that natural part of the mind that I work with, and it's a part that stores every single thing, get ready for this, that you've ever heard, seen, felt, done, experienced, learned, read, smelled, and tasted. Okay? Based on that, it composes your beliefs, behaviors, feelings, sensations, habits, emotions, personality, and programs of sorts. Anxiety is a program. Anxiety is also learned habitual behavior. So I just get in there and rewire those responses.
Cool. Wow. So can you give us a few pointers on how we can calm our anxieties? I mean, within ourselves. I mean, I had some getting to the studio today, and
Absolutely.
I was like, oh, deep breath, Holly, deep breath.
Absolutely. And you know, these are things that I also use in my life as well. So there's something that we call a powerful anchor thought. And the anchor thought has to be a very powerful thought, because our thoughts influence our feelings and emotions, which influence our reactions, responses, and behaviors, right? So it starts with a thought. If we have an anxious thought, let's say we're playing this anxious thought or this anxious movie in our head all the time, over and over and over again, we need to stop that thought. And we can train ourselves to stop it with what we call an anchor thought, or a more positive thought. So for example, let me ask you this, and to the people watching as well. Would you ever, let's say you went to the movie theater and you saw a movie you could not stand, you hated that movie. Would you keep going back to see that movie and over and over and over again?
No.
No, right. As humans, that's what we're doing to keep ourselves anxious. In our head, we're playing the same anxious thought over and over and over again.
You have to get out of your head.
You have to get out of your head. And what's worse is sometimes we even try and buy our friends tickets to go see the movie, or our family tickets to go see that movie.
Oh, man.
So sometimes we have to get out of our head by getting in our head. And one of the ways to do that is just to train your mind for whenever you feel anxious, number one, acknowledge it. Identify it and say, okay, I know I'm feeling this feeling, whether it's stress, overwhelm, anxiety, sadness, any feeling or emotion that can hold you back from doing something. So number one is you become aware. Number two is you actually change your body position, because the worst thing you can do is to stay where you are and to just still be anxious. So step number two, you change your body position, even if it's sitting up. And step number three, think of a very powerful thought that will override that anxious thought. Something that you're looking forward to, something that you're excited about, something that makes you calm, relaxed, and happy. And by focusing on that, it will rewire your brain and the anxious response. That's one very simple, elementary way.
Wow. I mean, there is so much, and we can't cover it all because we don't
Right.
have a lot of time. But I know you have some online programs that people can go up to your website, dancandell.com. You have one on anxiety. I know there's one on weight loss. I know there's one on sleep.
Yes.
Because that was awesome. So people can visit and do those programs online. We want to take it into the kitchen now, because there is also food that can help you reduce your anxiety. So we're
Absolutely.
going to take it into the kitchen. You want to join me?
Let's do it.
Awesome, thank you. Welcome back. We're in the kitchen today, and we're going to go bananas. Why are we going bananas? Because bananas are great for stress and anxiety. Bananas have tryptophan, and tryptophan is the hormone that helps produce serotonin in your brain. Serotonin is the feel-good hormone. So bananas, we have 3 recipes for bananas. Now, I have this book called Fight Back with Food, and I got it from Reader's Digest, and it has a whole chapter on stress and anxiety and bananas. So when you're stressed, I know people tend to go for food. Personally, I go for exercise, but that's just me. But some people are going to go for food. So when you're stressed and you want to go for food, I'm giving you 3 very simple recipes with bananas that you can go for instead of the chips, instead of the pretzels or any of the other comfort foods. So let's start. We're going to start with oven-baked cinnamon pecan, almond butter, banana boats. Wow. Oh my gosh. So Dan, you're my helper today.
Sure.
So here's the recipes. The recipe, we have 2 bananas. You want to bring those bananas over? And we'll set them on that pan, actually.
Little banana boats.
Yep. So what I need you to do is I need you to take a knife. I think there's a knife over there. Cut right down the middle, about 1/2 inch all the way.
This is where going bananas is a good thing,
This
right?
is definitely a good thing. Now, I made these last night for dessert because my husband gets bummed when I do my show and I never bring any leftovers for him. So I figured, okay, let me try them out and I'll do it before him. So then we're going to take, we have a 1/2 teaspoon of coconut oil. We have a 1/4 cup of chopped pecans, and we're going to roast them.
And when you're roasting pecans and nuts, you want to put it on a lower temperature?
Well, in this case, you kind of want a little medium to high.
Sure.
And we're going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon, if you can figure that one out, of cinnamon.
Little pinch, right?
Yeah, so that's about a 1/4.
Yeah.
So mix that up. And you want them to get a little toasted. Not too black, but just a little bit.
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision, there you go. And we open this up a little bit. So while that's toasting, then we take about, it says 2 to 4 tablespoons of coconut, but almond butter. So I find that that's a lot, so I just put a little bit in there. But we'll take this almond butter while you're toasting those.
And is almond butter a good healthy substitute for peanut butter?
It's got more protein and it's has a little more health benefits than peanut butter. But again, it's fattening, just as fattening as peanut butter. So you
still
have to be
in
careful.
limits, right?
Right, you have to be careful. I'm going to open this up a little bit more. Squeeze it in there.
And we're talking about emotions, how a lot of people eat out of emotions: frustration, loneliness, anxious, boredom, stressed, which the acronym of that is the FLABs. So it makes sense.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You're good with those.
We try.
Open that up a
And
little bit more.
you want to keep these moving, right? So that way
Yeah.
they don't burn.
So they don't burn.
Yeah, because with the oils they can burn really easily.
Yeah, so we're using a coconut oil because we're trying to make this recipe as paleo as possible, and also if you're doing the Whole30 diet, this is a great dessert for the Whole30 diet. All right, I think I should use a knife on this instead.
Learning tips too, right? Learn
Right.
what to do next time.
Yeah. Well, I did use a knife at home, so. Okay. So once those are a little more toasty, let's
Yeah,
turn
we'll
that
turn
up
it
a little bit.
Speed up the
Toast
process
it a
here.
little bit. Oh, wow, it smells great. Definitely smells
This
great.
is where we wish we had smell-o-vision.
So bananas are really great for stress and anxiety. They have the tryptophan, but they also have B6. And B6 is also another great vitamin when you're stressed out because that helps produce serotonin as well. So serotonin is key. And they help produce the melatonin, which helps you sleep better. So
I think those are getting nice and toasty.
toasty?
Yep.
Are we done?
There we go. I think we're
Okay.
done.
So we want to pour them on here.
Sure.
I'm going to open it up.
All right.
Don't.
I just
get
don't want
me,
to get your
actually.
hands.
Yeah, I know. Here we go.
Perfect. Okay.
Or maybe we use a spoon. Do you want a spoon?
Yeah, seems to work.
Okay. And then we're just going to sprinkle some cinnamon on top.
We've made these little foil banana boats before, so that way the bananas don't spill in the oven.
And they sit upright.
Right. Well, except for that one. He's taking a snooze fest.
Yeah.
He's too relaxed.
That's all right. Okay, so now we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes. Okay, the bananas are in the oven. Now we're going to move on to the next recipe, which is avocado banana cocoa mousse.
Delicious.
It is delicious. So we have one ripe banana that Dan has sliced up for me, which is great. and 2 avocados. So I did 1 avocado, but I just want to give you some tips on how to peel and cut an avocado. So I've cut this in half. To take the pit out, you just dig your knife in. Oops, well, that was quick and easy. Dig it in, turn it, and the pit falls out. So we're going to pull that out right now. Put it over here. Cut this one way, then cut it the other way. Take your handy dandy spoon, and this is my favorite spoon to do this, and you just go around the edges, and voila.
Slice and dice.
Slice and dice. So I'm going to let you do that one.
Sure.
While I get rid of that.
This is pretty easy. And you were mentioning before, if you keep the pit in the avocado, Holly, what does that do if you keep the pit in it?
So if you are making guacamole or you're making something with avocado ahead of time, if you leave the pit in it, in the guacamole or in with the avocados, it will stop it from turning black. You know how avocados will turn black when they oxidize. So that's something to be aware of. Another helpful Holly hint. Okay, so this is what we have for ingredients. Let me move this out of the way so you can see these ingredients. We have 2 ripe avocados. Now that's the hardest part, is finding avocados that are right, that are perfect, that are not overripe or that are not too hard. So I bought like 8 avocados just to find and get the right ones. 1 banana peeled and cubed. We have a 1/4 cup of raw cocoa powder. We have a 1/4 cup of coconut or almond milk. I'm using almond milk. You could use coconut milk. 2 tablespoons of honey. And I have some chopped pecans that we're going to just top it with, as well as we're going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, and we're going to put it into this Ninja, this blender slash...
And can you use any food processor or blender?
Yeah, they have to be pretty strong though. They definitely need to be strong enough because the smaller ones really can't handle creaming it fast enough. But let's pour these guys in.
You can smell the bananas in the oven too.
Yeah, I know, that sounds good.
Aromatic.
Yep. So this is very simple. This is a 5-minute recipe. I'm all about simple recipes. 5-minute recipe. We just pour all the ingredients in.
And you work with a lot of people on the go too, so people have busy lifestyles. This will work out really well for.
As do I. I have a busy lifestyle.
Exactly.
It works out great. And I made this yesterday to test it, to make sure everything was great. And so that my husband could get a little bit of it, because he gets a little disappointed when I don't have any leftovers when I bring after my show, because everybody who's working so hard on my show gets to benefit from it. All right, and then just 1 teaspoon.
And if you can make batches of this beforehand too, one of the things that actually helps with stress and anxiety is actually preparation, so that way you don't feel pressure or overwhelmed. So eliminating some of those things that make you feel pressured or overwhelmed or really urgent, taking some of those things out and planning like this is a good strategy to also reduce some stress and anxiety in your life too.
Also, make them ahead of time, and then you can you have it when you need it.
Right. And the cocoa powder's in there. Everything's in there now.
Yeah, you ready?
Let's do it.
It's going to be loud. All right. All right, let's take a look. Woo.
Oh, wow.
Yep, let's just push some of it down there, make sure all that powder goes down.
Because the cocoa powder sometimes is so dry that has difficulty incorporating, so you want to mix it a little bit more.
Goes flying. Flying.
And the key is to get all the chunks out, right?
Yeah, you want to get the banana chunks out, and the more you blend it, the smoother and fluffier the avocado is going to make it. Oh,
excellent.
There, that looks nice, huh?
Now is our favorite time, taste testing time.
Well, let's
we're
going to put this in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
First,
so we don't get to taste it yet.
Oh, but I have one that I made yesterday.
Oh, see, she came prepared. This preparation is key, right?
That's right.
I
I make everything, so it's in different stages. See how fluffy it gets?
Wow.
Very nice and fluffy. So we're going to put that in a bowl. Let's put it in one of these nice bowls.
And this is where it's okay if the avocado browned a little bit, because you wouldn't know because there's cocoa powder in it. And this is how chocolate mousse is supposed to be anyway.
There you go.
Right?
Put some in there.
All right. A
We're
decoration.
going to put our bananas out here. And we're going to get a little one of these for our ice cream.
And portions are also very good, so keeping portions in mind too.
Right. All right, so this we will...
This is also
We'll put that in the fridge in a minute.
Another one?
Nope, that's for the banana ice cream.
Oh, that's for the banana ice cream. Excuse me.
All right, so we're going to put that there. Okay, so one other thing while we're waiting for the bananas, the baked bananas, I made banana ice cream. All you do is cut up the bananas, cut them into these little guys.
Little bite-sized chunks like we sliced them for
Exactly.
this, right?
So this guy is a nice frozen one. I kept one so you could see. And put it in a freezer bag or in a bowl like this that you can seal. That's our banana boats. You want to go check those out?
I will go get those.
See if they're done. In the meantime, this is 3 bananas that I cut up. I froze last night, and then this morning I put in the food processor. When you do the banana ice cream, there's different stages. How's it look?
They actually look brown and
Yeah,
delicious.
well, they're brown. Yeah.
GBD,
Put them right
golden
there.
brown,
Put them right
delicious.
there. Awesome. All right, so there's a plate. You want to grab, there's tongs in that other drawer, and plate it right on there. And then we'll do this ice cream. So here's the ice cream. The thing with the ice cream, when you're making ice cream, it's best if you can start with ripe bananas because then it's a little sweeter. And then peel them, cut them, freeze them overnight, at least 2 hours, but I froze them overnight because that makes it a lot better. And then you start blending them. Nothing but bananas. Nothing but bananas. Can we stand that up?
We can. Might be a little warm. There we go.
There we go. Whew.
Excellent.
There we go. You grab that sponge and we'll just wipe this up a little bit. So when you're putting this in the blender or in the food processor, it kind of gets granular at first, like cookie dough. And so then you just take the spatula and you push it back down, and then you mix it again, and then it gets a little bit more granular like those ice cream dots. And then you keep pushing it down and mix it again, and then eventually it starts creaming like this. So it's a bit of a process. It is just bananas.
Wow.
Just bananas, that's it. So we'll dish it out a little bit. Dish some out. Let me get a bigger spoon.
We should.
Oh my gosh.
We should do a game so people can count how many times we say bananas in this episode.
That's a good
Get a
idea.
prize.
Right. Well, then how can we give the winner one of your online anxiety
we could do
program?
That. If you count how many times we say the word bananas in this episode, banana, 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 and then you, first person to send an email to either myself or Holly, you will get one of my anxiety programs, which is valued at $397.
Wow. Okay, I'm just going to garnish this a little bit with some chopped pecans. I could do that as well, but I'll hold off in case somebody has a nut allergy.
Obviously, if you have a nut allergy, right, you want to steer clear of the pecans and the walnuts. And
exactly. But hey, this is all Whole30 approved. It's paleo, and it's all bananas. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things is when you're stressed out, you like to eat ice cream, you like to eat pudding because it's smooth. That smooth consistency calms you down. Right. So these are all smooth as well.
And just a couple other tips: eating something cold or drinking a glass of cold ice water will burn more calories than drinking room temperature water. However, a little counterintuitive. If you are having a panic attack, drinking room temperature water will actually calm that panic attack down.
So beware. I'd like to thank you, Dan, for being my guest today and helping me go bananas in the kitchen. And remind everybody that you can access some of Dan's programs online at his website, dancandell.com. And do email us how many times we've said bananas, because this was a show where we went bananas. And I also want to remind you that you can get these recipes on my website on the Get Healthy with Holly tab. And thank you very much for watching this episode of Get Healthy with Holly, and stay tuned for next month, where I have Annie from Annie's Gluten-Free Bakery here baking us some yummy treats.